morning as we gather and worship such a great God, a loving God, and caring God. Special hello to our visitors and returning just for the weekend family members. A lot of announcements this morning, so I'll probably forget one of them. Special day salute this week. Happy birthdays out to Bill Hudson, Dave Wood, Linda Hott. Happy anniversary to Jim and Tammy Haney today. Tony Margaret McCulsick on 9/5. And okay, in case you didn't get one, our church calendars and service schedules are in the back, on the back table, so you want to get one of them. Our midweek Bible study continues this Wednesday evening at 6:30 right here. We're still studying the book of Matthew with different men leading the class. And if you're missing out on those, you're missing out on a lot. And try to remember this. I know I have this so I can remember. Immediately after this morning's worship hour, we'll have a brief planning session with friends and family. We're just going to meet for a few minutes and iron that out. That shouldn't take very long at all. And then 5 minutes after that meeting, all the lads and leaders, kids and parents, meet with Jay. Make sure it's rapidly after the first meeting. And Miller Young's going to be doing some repair work and apply a finish coat of asphalt this month. We don't have the dates yet, but we'll have that all worked out. And then 7 Sundays in Sunday school. Yeah. It's coming up. It's starting on September 11th through the 23rd. You know, we do that every year, so kind of encourage us to attend Sunday morning Bible study. And if you go 7 weeks in a row, you've established a habit, so you continue to come. So hopefully that'll be incentive for all of us to take part in that. In our prayers, Terry's back with us. Glad to have him. He's been through a lot this past week. And I'm sure Jeannie has been as well. So we're glad to have you back there. We really miss you, both of you, when you're not here. And there was a significant gift given towards our baptistry that we'll be working on. So, and it was given anonymously, so that's all I'm allowed to tell you. But it's quite significant, and hopefully it inspires the rest of us to do something similar. Mark Glasgow will be heading this week to out west, hopefully to see the birth of 2 little twins. 2 twins, that's kind of redundant. Sham's going to be getting some more treatments, just as an insurance type thing. We'll be getting those. Want to keep him in our prayers. Nellie Trent will be going to the Cleveland Clinic for a couple of different times. Burdette Stewart, we definitely want to keep him in our prayer, and so many more on our list. And one more thing, there's a car show in Leavittsburg today for Connor Noble. That's your great nephew for Keith. He understand he's not doing all that well, so they have this car show. I heard there's already 300 cars there. So that should be pretty good. Let's go to our God in prayer. Our God and Father, as we gather here this morning to give you praise and honor and glory, we thank you that through our worship to you, we are uplifted, we are edified, we are brought closer to one another, we're brought closer to you. Help us to be attentive to the lesson presented, to join our voices in singing songs of joy and praise to you and to prayer. And Father, as we gather around the Lord's table and we do as he commanded us to remember him, we remember him, we remember his work, remember his death, his burial, his resurrection. And Father, we're so grateful to you for all that you have given us and continue to give us. We thank you, Father, for so much. And in his name we pray. Amen.
number 779. I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am rich. Let the blind say I can see. It's what the Lord has done in me. Let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am rich. Let the blind say I can see. It's what the Lord has done in me. Hosanna, Hosanna to the Lamb that was slain. Hosanna, Hosanna, Jesus died and rose again. Hosanna, Hosanna to the Lamb that was slain. Hosanna, Hosanna, Jesus died and rose again. Into the river I will wade. There my sins are washed away. From the heavens mercy stream of the Savior's love for me. I will rise from waters deep into the saving arms of God.
Let us pray.
Father, as we gather together upon the first day of the week, as you commanded us to do, we look outside and we see the sunshine and we see your creation around us and we rejoice. We thank you for all your many blessings. But at the same time, we're humbled to think that you were willing to choose us over your Son. That you were willing to watch from heaven as your Son came to this earth. And went through your ordeal of the beating, the humiliation, the mocking, the spitting upon, and then being hung upon the cross to die for our sins. And even though there was great pain and suffering and humiliation, the worst part of that whole ordeal was the curse. The curse that an innocent man, pure and innocent, took the sins of man upon him to die upon the cross for us. We're so grateful. We're so humble and so thankful. And I pray, dear Heavenly Father, that we would remember that sacrifice every day of our lives. We would remember the sacrifice and we would remember the love. And each day that we would dedicate ourselves to your service, to do your will, to put agendas that we have in our personal lives aside and put you first in our lives. I thank you so much, dear Heavenly Father, that through the sacrifice, the death, burial, and resurrection, that we have forgiveness of our sins when we fail and we come short in our service and our glory to you. We also have the promise of eternal life with you when we leave this physical life of pain and suffering. I pray, dear Heavenly Father, at this time, especially for the ones that have been mentioned on our sick list this morning, I pray that you would be with Shan, that you would be with Nellie, that you would be with Burdette as they go through treatment for different problems that they have. I just pray that you would bless them and that you would be with them, that you would heal them, that it would be your will. And I pray not only for them, but for also all of those of our number who are having health issues and problems. We know that you and you alone have the ability and the power to heal. We just pray that it is in your will that you would be with each and every one of them and that you would bless them. I pray, dear Heavenly Father, for our young men and women who are serving in the military on foreign lands and soil in harm's way, that are protecting the way that we believe in this country, the freedoms that we have. I pray that you would watch over them, that you would protect them and bring them home safely. And I pray that we would also remember our veterans who have come home from the war, but still have many battles ahead of them, whether it's physical or emotional. I pray, dear Heavenly Father, that you would be with them, that they would find peace and comfort in you. And I pray that we would never forget them for the service that they've done. I pray, dear Heavenly Father, that you would lead us with this church here in Cortland and with your church throughout the world. May we, as your servants and Christians, decide on a daily basis that we want to see your kingdom spread. We want to see your church grow. And I pray that we would never be proud and boastful in the things that we've accomplished, but help us to be humble and give all credit back to you. Because even though we plant the seed, you are the one that causes the growth. And I pray that you would bless our efforts here, that you would bless our efforts throughout the world, that you would help us to take your word into the world, to the ones who are lost, the ones who are searching for the truth. Help us be the guidelight to them. And I pray, dear Heavenly Father, that when opportunities are placed before us, that you would give us the words, that you would give us the actions that we need to influence others. I thank you so much for your Son. I thank you for his church that he established, and I thank you for your love. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Our next song for communion, will be Kneel at the Cross, number 945. Kneel at the cross, Christ meet you there, He intercedes for you. Lift up your voice, sing it with your care, and begin life anew. Kneel at the cross, clear every care. Kneel Psalm during the offering, number 553. I'll let it pray.
For the past several Sundays, Terry has been delivering sermons on what Jesus has done for us, the shame that he felt, the pain that he felt, and the guilt that he took upon us for our sins. I have just recently checked online, excuse me, that there's been 110 billion people who lived on this earth. And Jesus took the sins of all these people that have ever lived and will ever live upon him and felt the guilt and the pain from those sins. That the perfect man who had no sin actually put himself into hell for our sins. That we should remember this every day of our lives, not just when we gather together, partake of this Lord's Supper here that he instituted, that we partake of his death and his suffering. That we should remember every single day. Every time we go to make a wrong decision, we should remember what he's done for us. So now as we go into prayer, Almighty Father, we thank you for your Son's love. That your love, that you sacrificed him. That you sacrificed him for our sins, that we might have salvation. That you give us the Bible, that we might understand your word and your will for us. We thank you for his flesh that was broken, and now ask that you bless his bread, which represents his flesh that was broken upon us. That you'll bless us as we partake of it. In Christ's name, amen. before you ever created the world, that you knew that man would fail, that he would sin, and that you had planned before the creation of the universe to sacrifice your son for the man's sin. We thank you for your love and your foreknowledge, and ask now that you bless the fruit of the vine here, which represents the blood that was shed on the cross. We ask that you bless us as we partake of it, and bless it from its common to its holy use. In Christ's name, amen. As we remember your son's sacrifice and your love for us, your son's love for us, and all that you've done for the church, our families, our homes, we pray now that we may return a portion of that, an insignificant portion compared to what you've done to us, for us. We ask that it will be used for the spreading of your word, the spreading of the gospel, and be used according to your will. In Christ's name.
My life, my love, I give to thee, thou Lamb of God, who died for me. Oh, may I ever faithful be, my Savior and my God. I am for him who died for me. How happy then my life shall be. are my strength when I am weak. You are the treasure that I seek. You are my all in all. Seeing you as a precious jewel, don't give up, I'd be a fool. You are my all in all. Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name. Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name.
Sorry, that was a different version.
Will you please stand for the reading of God's word? I'll be reading Luke chapter 9, verses 23 through 24. Then he said to them all, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Welcome to all of you. We have a number of visitors today, some from North Carolina. Great to have the Fishers with us. I predict next time we see Marissa, she will be taller than Val. And Tyler, you're kicking it in. You might stretch your head here in a little while. It's great to have you all with us today. We miss you guys a whole lot. Good to have Libby with us. Good to have some visitors from the Wyndham area, campus. Sure, I'm overlooking somebody here. I wanted to thank Vic for preaching last Sunday on especially short notice. I went to bed early Saturday night, felt pretty good, but woke up and had a miserable night. Ended up having to go to the hospital about noon. It's a good thing Jeannie was around to help out that way. And Vic, I told Jeannie about 6:30, you better call somebody because it's not getting any better. But Vic, you and Deb are headed for North Carolina, actually just a little bit north of Myrtle Beach. And I know you've been looking forward to that for quite a while. Even more so after Tony and Amy and the family got here. Just kidding, Tony. Well, no, I guess I'm not kidding. They have really been looking forward to a little escape. Actually, Tony and Amy have signed the deal on a house and will be moving while Vic and Deb are out of town. Vic and Deb are going to be gone for a couple of weeks, hopefully relaxing, golfing and fishing, and Debbie just doing nothing. Vic mentioned about 7 Sundays, and he did a really good job, so I won't belabor that except to say that it almost seems every summer we are tempted with various things that come our way, and we get a little bit lazy or lackadaisical about especially regarding our Sunday school attendance. And one of the primary designs of this 7 Sundays campaign is to help us get back in the groove, back in the swing of things. Sunday school is important. It has been for years, and it continues to be important. It has a lot to do with the pulse of our congregation. If somebody was to analyze our health, one of the first things they would probably want to know is, how's your Sunday school doing? And if we told them, well, it's pretty miserable, there's not very many people that attend, especially among the youth, somebody that was objective would probably look at us and say, your church is in trouble. So we we want to urge all of us, and I'm not just talking here about young families with young children. I'm talking to some of you who are older too, because Sunday school is not just a kiddie thing. There's not a one of us in our gathering who could not benefit from some additional study. And some of you maybe have legitimate reasons for not being here, but some of you don't. And if you look in the mirror, you can just say, I'm just lazy enough. I mean, come on, it's only 35 minutes ahead. It's not like you're coming here and sitting here for an hour and a half or 2 hours to a boring lecture. It's 35 minutes of added Bible study. So now that I've chastised you about that, get up a little bit early and get here for Sunday school. And not only will you benefit, I'm sure that you will, no matter who the teacher is, because God's Word is life. It enlightens us every time we go into it. But not only will you benefit yourself from being here, but you will stimulate others. That's what Hebrews 10:25 seems to be saying. The assembling together was of Jew and Gentile into one body of Christ, but the writer of the book of Hebrews says, do not forsake the gathering together of yourself, but stir up one another to love and good deeds. So your presence here will help to do that. Now, for our sermon this morning, Leonard Allen, who is one of our brethren, has written a book a few years ago. It's not an easy read. Really, when somebody is always shoveling books that are easy to read our way, sometimes we might delight in reading something easy, and it might make us feel a little bit smart, in that we grasp it all and it's no big deal. But sometimes really the prescription we need is for somebody to give us a book that takes a lot of chewing. And this book, The Cruciform Church, it is a book like that. And C. Leonard Allen bemoans the lowlighting, that's not his word, that's my word. Instead of the highlighting of the cross of Jesus, he is bemoaning the de-emphasizing, or what I'm calling the lowlighting of the cross. The subtitle of his book is Becoming a Cross-Shaped People in a Secular World. And in case you're not aware of the meaning of cruciform, and you don't need to feel ignorant about this, probably most everybody in our gathering today could not have given a thorough definition of cruciform. Maybe a few of you, I would be surprised. But cruciform simply means that it's cross-shaped. Becoming a cross-shaped people in the midst of a secular world. Leonard Allen writes, the most pressing question facing churches of Christ today is the question, can we recover the word of the cross in its biblical fullness? No other question comes close to this one. Brother Allen writes, can we recover the word of the cross? Brother Allen argues that this question towers over any and all other questions, and he suggested it does so for at least two reasons. Number one is, he notes that the word of the cross has been significantly displaced in the history of our fellowship, especially over the last couple of centuries. Over the last 150 years, many of our churches, many of us who are members of the churches of Christ, I think, have unintentionally pushed the cross into the background. Now, bear me out on this for just a moment, and I'm simply speaking myself here, but I'm echoing Brother Allen's sentiments as well. In promoting the importance of hearing, believing, repenting, confessing, and being baptized, which nobody is putting down. That's a wonderful teaching tool to bring us to Jesus. But in promoting that as being so very important, the plan of salvation as a whole, we have inadvertently minimized or marginalized the centrality of the cross. Now, just imagine with me, and I'm ad-libbing here on this point too. Imagine you're wanting to teach someone how to become a Christian. So you talk about hearing the gospel and believing and repenting and confessing and being baptized into Christ. But somewhere in the teaching process of getting someone else to come to Jesus, we don't even talk about what Jesus did for us. That gets pushed, it becomes more of what are we going to do to get into Jesus, rather than what did Jesus do to open up the door for us to get into Christ. Now, if you've been a part of our Cortland church family for any length of time, you serve as a witness to the fact that I have, and I say this not boastfully, but I think honestly, I have attempted to give due diligence to the preaching of the cross of Christ throughout my time with you. And we've been here now about 20 years in this location, and some of you have been with me for 35 years, and you know that that's the case. And it's my frequent prayer that none of us will ever find ourselves saying, I'm tired of hearing about the cross. If you reach that point, it might be time for you to look for another church. And I don't say them all to be smart enough. Or maybe you want to stay in the church, but you need to petition for another preacher. But if you do that, I'll be sad. Not just because I might get the axe, but because we need to hear the word of the cross, whoever our preacher is. Secondly, Leonard Allen observes that in our present culture, in the world in which we now live, Jesus' call to follow the way of the cross has become almost unintelligible. He speaks of a Christianity that seems to be flourishing on one hand, but he notes that it is a Christianity with little room for the cross. This is what I have spoken of over the years, and it's not original with me, as easy believism. Or some have characterized it as the church light. The light version of what it means to be a Christian. And that's very appealing to some. They want an easy believism. They don't want to travel a hard road to be a disciple of Jesus. They want us to lighten up about what it really means to be a disciple. And in this regard, I think it's correct to say that the church of our day, we have been squeezed and dulled. We're no longer sharp and piercing as we should be in a good way, but we have been squeezed into the mold of the world, and our ability to go forth with the gospel has been dulled greatly. I would add that sometimes it seems to me that the church of our day is more about conformity than it is about cruciformity. In some ways, we're reminded of the children of Israel in the Old Testament. God told them, I don't want you to have a king, and they kept saying, God, we want to have a king, so that we can be like those around us. And that same tension sometimes is affecting the church. We want to be like others, to conform, but in the process we lose our cruciform shape. We're no longer a cross-shaped church. And I would just add with a real big exclamation point, we will never be a cross-shaped church if we allow the world to shape our thinking. I have in my library numerous books on the theology of the cross. But with just a few exceptions, for whatever reason, and I'm rather ashamed to say that on the part of all of the authors that have written these many books, or many of the authors, and you could say, well, what right do you have to criticize somebody else? You've never written a book, and that's true. But many of these books, they talk at length about the theology of the cross, but very few of them, most of them fail in this regard. Very few of them speak of the ramifications of bearing our cross in light of his cross. And I keep thinking to myself in a biblical way, how can we talk about the cross of Jesus and not hear Jesus saying to us, unless you take up your cross and follow after me, you cannot be my disciple. Well, at some point in time, hopefully sooner rather than later, we're going to need to ask ourselves some very serious questions. First of all, what is the meaning of the cross regarding my salvation? And if we attempt to answer this biblically, which we should always do, then it will help us to keep prioritized God's goodness and God's grace. That's what brought about our salvation. Not simply that we followed a little 5-step plan of salvation. It was God's grace. The cross of Christ speaks to us over and over about the gracious goodness of God and what he has done for us. So we could say, and answer the question, what's the meaning of the cross in terms of my salvation? It has everything to do with our salvation. And without the cross of Christ, there is no, we can't even talk about salvation. Secondly, and this is the focus of our sermon this morning, what is the meaning of the cross of Christ in terms of my sanctification? Now, don't be intimidated by that word. It's long, it's hard to spell for some of you. It comes from the word sanctify. And all that means is to be set aside. Our life is set aside to serve Jesus. So what does the cross have to do with our sanctification? What does it mean for the church and for each one of us as Christians and members of the church? What does it mean for us to live under the cross? Now, next Sunday, don't hold me to this, but I'm thinking, and I'm not going to go on and on with this series, but it's just kind of evolving. I'm thinking I'm going to talk about living under the cross. Will give me the freedom to change my title a little bit if I want to, but that's the direction I'm going. So, what does it mean to live under the cross? Let's get that thought started here this morning. And both of these questions, what does the cross mean for my salvation? What does the cross mean for my sanctification? Both of these are worthy of constant and continual exploration and application. But it's this latter question that we want to consider this morning. And I want to do this by looking at two key verses as we start out. The first verse is from Luke 14, verses 25 and 27. If you want to turn there and follow along, either with your mobile device or your old-fashioned Bible. Do they make these smartphones and stuff to where, couldn't they, like especially for church, make it to where when you turn the page, it makes a little page turning? Because that really sounds nice from up here. makes you feel better than just watching somebody do this, because you don't always know what they're doing. But when they do this, it's pretty. You pretty much know what they're doing there. You like that, Libby? Here's Luke 14:25 through 27. Now great multitudes were going along with Jesus, and he turned and said to them, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple." Now, these verses from Jesus, they're both shocking and for sure demanding. And maybe the shock factor centers on that word that we encounter there in verse 26, where I read it twice, and I didn't misread it, although modern translations may actually help us in reading this a little bit better. Most of us have come to realize that translating words from one language to another can sometimes be really challenging. Years ago, Jeannie asked Cindy Jean's mother, Albertina, who speaks fluent English and fluent Spanish, when we lived on the other side of town on Lover's Lane, she asked, I think I'm remembering right, she asked Albertina, "How do you say Lover's Lane in Spanish?" And it ended up being, her rendering was really quite colorful. In fact, I like the way this says it, but it would have been too long to put on your street marker. It's the boulevard of the enamored ones. Well, you know, going from Hebrew or Greek to English can sometimes leave us for groping for trying to get the correct meaning of something, especially when you go back 2,000 years. As to the meaning of hate, if anyone does not hate his father and his mother and his siblings, his children, etc., as to the meaning of hate, you probably have a footnote somewhere in your Bible, regardless of the translation, that would say that this word hate means by comparison of our love for him. Matthew's gospel helps us here. It clarifies for us a little bit, I think, what Luke was saying. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 37, here's the way Matthew gives it. "He who loves his father or mother more than me is not worthy of me." Now we understand what he means. He who loves his father or mother or sisters or wife or fill in the blank more than me is not worthy of me. In other words, taking up our cross means that our love for God and Christ must be preeminent. Few of us would argue, I don't know that any of us would argue, that Jesus would be pleased to accept secondary status in our lives. I've not really met many Christians that would stand on a soapbox and say all Jesus wants is your little scraps. You can't say that based on the scriptures that have been given to us. Yet, Christ must not only have a significant role, and some of us could argue, well, I would never think of making him secondary. I'll make him significant. But Christ must not only have a significant role, he must have the supreme role in our lives. This is the meaning of lordship, which I think is very quickly in our world escaping us. We don't have much of a model today to teach us anything about sovereignty or what it means to be Lord. Someone coined a phrase years ago, I don't know if it's even attributable to anybody in particular, but it says, if Christ is not Lord of all, he is not Lord at all. Don't call him Christ if he's not Lord of all, because that's the meaning of lordship. So our first text here in Luke 14 addresses the preeminence of Christ. Jesus must hold more sway over us than any of our earthly relationships. More than our parents, more than our mates, more than our children, more than our siblings, and we can add more than our friends, more than our workmates, more than our pets, more than our sports heroes, more than anything else that we hold near and dear. Jesus must take precedent. He must be preeminent. And note one more than, yes, he must take preeminence, yes, even more than your own life, Jesus says. Not only do you have to love Jesus more than you do your mom, your dad, your children, your siblings, everybody else, your mate, you have to love Jesus more than you do even your own life. Our second key text comes from 1 Peter 2 and verse 21. For you have been called for this purpose, since Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example to follow in his steps. In the interest of time, we have just read verse 21, but the context clearly shows that the example to which Peter is referring is the manner in which Jesus bore his own cross. So what does it mean to worship a crucified God? And what does it mean in particular here for the church to live in this world, in our world, whatever age it happens to be? What does it mean for the church to live as a cruciform church? Now we're highlighting here two texts, Luke 14, 26 and 27, and 1 Peter 2, 21. But there's another text that illuminates these two. And this was the one that Dylan read in his scripture. Luke 9 and verse 23. This statement is given to Jesus to his 12 apostles, and the immediate context reveals that Peter was present on that occasion. You can see in Luke 9 and verse 20. I'm laying this foundation because of 1 Peter 2:21. Peter's writing this, and I often think, what's the basis for Peter saying this? And it's well and good to say, well, the Holy Spirit inspired him to say it. But part of the way the Holy Spirit did that was to bring to the minds of the apostles all the things that Jesus said to them during those 3.5 years that he taught them. And surely, when Peter wrote 1 Peter 2:21, he must have been thinking about Luke 9:23, where he heard with his own ears Jesus say, if anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. So to follow in the steps of Jesus in bearing our cross, we must deny self. And this must be done daily. I think that's what is part of what makes discipleship so hard. It's not just something today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to take care of this dying to self thing. I'm going to crucify self, and then I'm going to get on with life. No, the problem is it's like Groundhog Day. You wake up every day saying, okay, today I think I need to work on this putting self to death and crucifying self, because I've not done it yet. It keeps coming up every day. There's nothing ambiguous about these Lucan citations. Luke 9:23. There is nothing fuzzy about this. Luke recording the words of Jesus. There is a clarity here that defies misunderstanding. Even if you're a simpleton, and none of you here are that, I had to say that to be safe. I mean, nobody here is a simpleton, but even if we have simpletons among us, nobody can misunderstand this. If anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. There's nothing hard to understand about that. The difficulty comes in the application of it. So Luke 14:27, Jesus states emphatically, we cannot be his disciple unless we take up our cross. You've been looking for a shortcut for all, you're looking for easy believism, for that light church, and Jesus said, no, that's not the way to be. You cannot be my disciple unless you take up your cross. There's just no other way. Luke 9:23, Jesus states quite plainly that bearing our cross will demand that we deny ourselves and that we do that daily. Now, most of us wake up every day, daily, needing to readdress three big problems. Me, myself, and I. Don't sit there and tell me I'm the only one that has that problem. If you say that, that bears evidence to the fact that you've got the problem. So we have to keep working on this. Paul reveals the essence of the cross in that wonderful text of Philippians 2:5 and following, which was an early first century scholar. Philippians 2:7, Paul says, Jesus emptied himself. Did you get that? Jesus emptied himself. Galatians 2 and verse 20, Paul affirms that the cross of Christ demands that we too take up our cross. This is the way Paul wrote it. I have been crucified with Christ, and it's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life that I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and delivered himself up for me. Someone may say with a bit of a grin, we all have our crosses to bear. And we say that sometimes. I love to play games with my brother-in-law. Not real games, kind of mind games. We used the same shower. And before he came to live with us, I had a little shower caddy hanging by the shower thing. And I would put my soap and my shampoos and all that. Everything was organized, obviously, in there. And then he came in, and all of my stuff got relegated to the towel bar at the back of the shower. So I don't know how I allowed that to happen. But so we came back from this little trip to Canada. We had all these little samples of shampoos and cream rinse. And so I showed Jeannie the other day. Mark has his little holes and slots he puts his stuff in. A couple days after we got back, when he opened up the shower, it's like the caddy was loaded. It was loaded with every kind of little container you can imagine, and he couldn't even find his stuff. Okay, how did I give up? He would say, I'm the cross that he has to bear. Somebody has to put up with Terry. Mark, I appreciate the fact that you do. And sometimes you're the cross that I have to bear. That goes two ways. But the cross that we're called to bear is not just an occasional burden or even a persistent inconvenience. Charles Hodge states, a cross is not something that we A cross is something we take up, not something that we just put up with. There's a big difference there in our thinking. A cross is not just something we put up with, it's something we intentionally, purposefully take up. So bearing our cross is not a negative thing. It's not an act of misery or some form of woe is me martyrdom. If that's your concept of bearing the cross of Jesus, you need to re-educate your mind and your heart. Rather, let's think of it this way. What a joy it is, what a privilege it is to walk in the steps of Jesus. What a joy comes from living a self-surrendered life. 1 John, all three of John wrote the gospel and he wrote the book of Revelation, but then he wrote 3 short letters. We call them 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. And all 3 of these little letters, he emphasizes joy. He speaks of joy. You can go online and see the references in the sermon notes, but in 1 John 1, verse 4, he opens the first epistle by saying, "These things we write so that our joy may be made complete." God is not, he doesn't sit up in the heavens saying, how can I make life miserable for these disciples of Jesus? Hey, I think I'll make them take up their own cross. God tells us that this is what we must do, but it's so that our joy may be complete. 1 John 2 and verse 6 we read, "The one who says that he abides in Jesus ought himself to walk in the same manner as he walked." It is not drudgery to follow in the steps of Jesus. It's joy spelled with all caps. In a minute or 2, or maybe 3 or 4 at most, we're going to close the sermon with a prayer. But before we get to that point, no doubt there are a few of you, maybe even most of you. I'm counting on Maggie to be asking this question right now. You're wanting me to spell out precisely and specifically, in no uncertain terms, what does it mean for me to die to self? You want me to tell you, okay, you're buying into this. I've got to take up my cross and I've got to do this daily if I want to be a disciple. But tell me exactly what does it mean for me to die to self and to take up my cross daily. Don't ask me to do that. You're wanting me to do that for you. Don't ask me to do what, number one, I'm incapable of doing for you. And don't ask me to do for you what you must do for yourself. Part of taking up our cross daily is looking in the mirror, and nobody knows us, like ourselves, and knowing where we don't look like Jesus, and something has got to change. Things have to give if we're going to be a real cruciform Christian. Every morning, on a daily basis, all of us need to wake up and to begin a new day by asking ourselves, how can I die to self today? Not literally. You don't have to get up and look in the mirror and say that. That has to be your mindset. You have to be thinking about, today I'm a Christian. How can I bear my cross? How can I take up this life of self-denial? How can I better walk in the steps of Jesus? And I don't know who it was that said this, but this gets to the heart of the problem. And again, I'm getting on a side note here. Somebody said years ago, I think it was somebody East Indian, or said something about, I really like your Savior. Jesus impressed with Jesus, but I'm not too impressed with the church. And that gets to the very heart of what we're talking about here. The reason whoever that man was that said that statement is not impressed with the church is because we haven't crucified ourselves and really gotten serious in following in the steps of Jesus. Or he would see in us a reflection of the one who died for us. You could even start your day with a notebook of things to do today. I kind of have that, it's called a day timer. Things to do today that will help me be more Christ-like. But I've got to warn you that self-denial and death to self is quite often an unscheduled event. Okay, you don't just open your day timer and say, okay, here's 10 things you're going to do today, then right there, okay, death to self. What time of the day will that be? Well, you can't work it that way. It's not usually scheduled. All throughout your day, you're going to face temptations or snares or trials, and there will be trials or temptations to avoid or evade the goals that you have set, and you will probably likely concoct some form of rationalization or justification for behaving in ways that you know are not Christ-like. That's part of our humanity. We know what we ought to do, but somehow we fall off the wagon and we try to justify being the way we know we shouldn't be. And it might start, and these are simplistic illustrations, take them as that. This death self might start when somebody cuts you off on a highway road. Keith? It may not be scheduled, but how you respond in that moment. It might be when the restaurant server seems to take forever to deliver your meals. I was bemoaning that in the hospital. You know, why does it take so long to get checked out? Once they tell you everything's fine, you ought to be out of there in 30 minutes. I feel the same way about Red Lobster. You could be there for an hour and a half, and it takes an hour and a half to get out. Not really, I'm exaggerating, as I always do. That's part of the justification process. I have a right to be mad. It might be when a telemarketer calls during supper. Don't you hate that? Or what I really hate is when they call during the start of Fox News. I just want to screen it. But over the years, I've told myself that's not very Christian to screen your calls. It could be somebody really calling for something serious, so you have to answer, at my house anyway. It might be that it's time to deny self and take up your cross when a brother or sister says something to you that really gets your goat. Now, I know you probably never had that happen. It might be when you have to say no to spending money to buy things you really don't need and to purchase a bunch of stuff that ends up owning you rather than you owning it. It might mean sacrificing. Hey, how about that? Taking up your cross just might mean sacrificing what you want to do or what you prefer to do rather than what needs to be done, especially in service to your mate, to your children, to your brothers and sisters in Christ, your church, your family, your friends, your workmates. And I'll close by just saying a couple more things. Cross-bearing, the reason, even if I was that bright that I could sit down with each one of you and say, okay, here's how you're going to bear your cross. And I'm going to get real specific, I'm going to tell you exactly. Cross-bearing, it takes so many different forms and so many different shapes. But in invariably includes the concept of not my will, but thy will be done. I can't tell you the precise manner in which you're to bear your cross or take up your cross, but I can stand before us all, including myself here first and foremost, to tell us all that it is a mandate. I can't tell you exactly how you have to bear your cross, but I can tell you with authority based on the Word of God that it is a mandate. It is not optional. It's not a take or leave it. Listen to Jesus before we bow and pray. Whoever does not take up his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Let's bow.
Lord, we're so thankful for you, for the plan that you installed, for your Son who paid the price for our sins. That not only would you do all the work, give us the word to show us the way, but you allow us to reap the rewards of this. We know, Lord, that our salvation is a loan that we cannot even pay the interest on. And at the end of our days, at the judgment day, that principal will be due. We must and we ask for the strength to thank your Son, thank you for the gift, for our salvation every day of our lives, that we get to the last days of our lives with our cross. We ask you also, Lord, that you look out for all of us, that you help us encourage one another and be compassionate to one another when our cross is too much to bear. We ask also that you keep us healthy and strength, that we might do your will every day. We ask that you look out for us and keep us safe as we travel. We ask that you keep this church growing and vibrant, and you bring new young folk into it. It's all this we ask in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Stephen, for that prayer. Let's close this sermon now with an invitation to anyone here. Are you ready? Most of us in here have already made a pledge. And maybe you just need to be reminded that we just didn't embark on a little journey where we're going to play patty cake with Jesus. We went down into the waters and we said, in essence, I'm going to die with him. And that's not only going to be that once in the moment of baptism, but every day. I'm going to take up my cross daily and follow after him. If you have not done that, it's the greatest blessing in all the world. It's the vehicle by which we come into Christ, where all spiritual blessings are, including our salvation. So if you haven't done that, I'm urging you to do that. But if you haven't done that, I'm also telling you, you just don't know what you're missing. And we would urge you to respond to the gospel. And if you're ready today to begin your journey and to be baptized into Christ and start walking in the steps of Jesus, let us know as Nick leads us in this song. Let's all stand and be ready to sing.
I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. Let them go with me. I still will follow.
give that last song. And Brian, if you can lead us in a closing prayer, and then we want everybody to remain seated. I promise you this meeting will be very brief.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time that we've had to come together and to hear your word proclaimed to us. We thank you for the lesson that Terry provided to us. Help each of us each day to remember the importance of bearing our cross, the importance of following you and trusting in you in everything we have. We pray that you will be with us in the congregation and continue to bless us and bless those who can't be with us today due to illness or struggles, that you'll return them to their much wanted health. Pray that you'll be with us now as we depart this place. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen.
Robert, would you, David, would you help me on that side? One of these to each household. And let me just mention here, there's a little presumption, and that's all it is a presumption. Really a couple of presumptions. Number one, I would just love it. We started this last year. We're just calling it our Fall Fest. And we want to make it an annual thing. And by that, we don't necessarily mean that it has to get bigger every year, but we want it to be better and to be productive and good. And it got off to a really great start last year. What I started to say was, I would be tickled to death if somebody would be willing to be our Fall Fest superintendent or manager. Roseanne, all right, you're wonderful. So we can already, Roseanne is the big dog in this case, all right? Now, you don't have to answer to me on this. And I'm not trying to micromanage here, I'm just trying to help us make sure that we cover all the bases. I'm sure many of you see there at the bottom that says other. So what I want us to do here, and I'm assuming, secondly, the date. What we did up here is I did get a little feedback. Somebody told me that if we had it on the 16th, they wouldn't be here, but they could do it the Sunday before or the Sunday after. So Randy, your recommendation is coming into play here. We're keeping the same date. We had a wonderful weather day. Of course, who knows what could happen. But we're also, Randy's idea was, could we blend somehow Family and Friends Day with our Fall Fest? And that's what this model is attempting to do. Now, we can go home today, and next Sunday we're going to get feedback, and when we come in next Sunday, we want to have a bunch of your names all by this, and the chief dog, Roseanne, will be looking for a team leader for each one of these areas, and that doesn't mean you're going to do all the work. For example, Keith, let's say you're in charge of games. All that means is that you have to think what games are we going to have, and who's going to be in charge of the burlap sack race, and who's going to do the tug of war, and who's going to do the egg toss. And doesn't mean you have to do it all. You just have to see that it gets done. Kind of like camp. You remember those days. You know you do. So we're assuming that the 9th is okay. Now, I know it's going to be impossible to get a total compliance with whatever date we came up with. Does anybody have a problem with the 9th? Okay, and that means all of you will be here. And secondly, what I'm thinking is, because of the logistics, our modest little facility here, we love this little building, but it does hamper us sometimes with what we can do and can't. We had, last year, we did a Friends and Family Day earlier in the fall, and then the Fall Fest later. But on this day, what if, as soon as we're done with worship, and we can even make this a Sunday morning worship with, if you feel comfortable coming casual, you're fine. A lot of times when we invite people to come to church, they say, the clothes. This might be an occasion where you say, hey, we're going to be outside, and come casual. You'll be all right. Or if you still feel like you want to dress up Sunday morning, just bring a change of clothes. We'll just take turns in the restroom when we're done, and we'll get into our more casual clothes. But what we'll do is we'll set up in here for a covered dish luncheon, We'll also have some tables and chairs set under tents outside so that people can get their food and they'll have the choice, either eating inside or going outside. And then after that's over with, everything moves outdoors, weather permitting, and we have all of this big day of activity, ending up with hay rides back on the back acreage and campfire with songs. I'm very impressed with our Boy Scouts doing the retirement of old flags. It wasn't a long ceremony, but it was very meaningful. So we're keeping a lot of the good things that were done last year. We're going to have lots of pumpkins, a pumpkin painting contest. Did anybody notice we have pumpkins growing outside? And Shannon said, well, we're going to spill a bunch of seeds in the back and we won't have to buy pumpkins next year. But anyway, here's the way we're going to leave. Unless, and we'll take a week to sit on this. If you come back next Sunday and you say, this putting them both together is not going to work, then we'll rethink it. It's not set in stone. It's just an idea. But everybody take this home, think about where can I plug in, where can I help out, and come back next Sunday and we're going to fill in the blanks. Anybody have any words or comments? Jen?
I have a question, and maybe I'm just thinking about this wrong, is 5 hours after church
Well,
is a
I'm
long
glad you called
time.
that to our attention. Do we want to end earlier?
Well, when are we going to have, I'm thinking about the campfire. Typically, we do the campfire at dusk. We can certainly do it. There's nothing in the Boy Scouts about when you do the campfire for the.
Well, it gets dark earlier.
It
Every
doesn't-
day it's getting earlier.
Well, it's not dark at 5 here.
Yeah. Well,
It's just a lot of hours for us to fill in activities, especially if we've got a lot of kids here. I'm just wondering about the 5-hour thing, that's all.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Jay, I'm open to if we want to change that or alter it. But last year, I think our fall fest was about that same length
But
of
we
time.
didn't start right after church. We started later in the
I know, but we went much later than 5. So we still covered the same amount of time. I think we started like at 2 or 3
Yeah.
and ended up at 8, I think, something like that.
What do I have? Never mind.
Well, I could be wrong on that. But it's all, nothing's set.
Where are you, Roseanne? You're in charge.
It's over when it's over.
Roseanne.
Okay, that's all.
Terry?
Stephen. Just a minute.
If we're doing a double meal then on the 9th, would that just cancel out the coverage luncheon on the 2nd then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we normally have a first Sunday luncheon. We would just move that to the second Sunday. And then in the evening, if there's leftovers, fine. But all we're doing in the evening is a hot dog. Hot dog and s'mores around the fire. I'll know how to eat at noon. Okay. Anybody else? Did I see another hand?
Parents and kids meet with Jay right after.
Okay. Stephen.
Yeah, we'd like to go to Salvatore's after church and get some lunch if anybody would like to go with us.
Oh, good. Does that mean your parents?